Welcome back to Good Day. So there are times in one's life when the whole world changes. So one of those days for women is when someone calls them mom.
Big deal. Yeah, that brings about an entirely new range of emotions, challenges, and self-reflection. Sometimes irritation. Licensed professional clinical counselor Allison Kerr joins us with how to deal with mommy guilt. You know, it's a real thing. Good morning. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. And this is such an important topic. I think every parent feels this at one point in their parenting journey or another.
And you have 3 kids.
I have 3 kids.
Ooh. Under 5.
5, 3, and 18-ish months.
Wow.
So I'm familiar, both as a professional in this realm and also as a parent, going through it 24 hours a day.
So when you talk about mommy guilt, what is that? Can you explain? I'm not a mom. Nor dad, right? So explain that to me. What is mommy guilt and how does it come about?
So I can speak from, I don't know if there's a true definition of mommy guilt, but for me, how I conceptualize that is when you as a parent are feeling guilty about not showing up for your kid in the way that you want to, or maybe you had a difficult interaction, or you feel like you're spending too much time with them, you're not getting enough time for yourself, you feel like you're not spending enough time with them and they aren't getting to get to know you and be with you in those really special ways that you looked forward to your whole parenting life. So you just have this kind of like sinking feeling like you aren't doing it right.
Yeah, and I've been there time and time again, really. And sometimes it could be something big or it could be something simple. I know a lot of times I feel guilty if I don't have my daughter in enough activities. Like, oh, I missed the deadline to sign her up for T-ball again. I mean, I do it all the time, or soccer or whatever it is. And then there are other times that it's like she asked me to paint her nails and I was really tired and I was like, not today. And I felt really bad about it. I ended up doing it the next day. But, you know, so it can be bigger things, it could be smaller things, right?
Absolutely. And I think it doesn't necessarily speak to the interaction you're having with your child. It's more what's going on with you on the inside. So when you are feeling burnt out or tired or stressed, or there's things happening, you know, at work, or there's things happening within your relationship, sometimes that leaks out to your interactions with your kids. And that, I think, is really sort of like the nail in the coffin that makes it feel so painful, because it's not really even about them. It's about what's happening with you. So I think it's really important as a parent to take a step back, and even if it's just a minute, and to just check in with yourself, like, where am I at today? What is my capacity for interaction today? What can I do to put my best foot forward, set myself up for success? Because each day is different depending on what we have going on. And I just think it's so important for us to just be in tune with that, in touch with that.
And what kind of tools do you have for moms to take that step back in order to reflect on who they are and just kind of like put things into a box and not be so, because it sounds like it's a thing where moms are maybe just being a little too hard on themselves and just take a moment to be kind to themselves. So do you have any tools to help guide moms through getting through mommy guilt?
Sure. I mean, I wish that there was like a pause button that we could press kind of in the moment when we feel ourselves, or when we hear ourselves say something, or when we are kind of sitting with ourselves after an interaction. Like, I wish there was a pause button that we could sort of like press and have that moment to kind of ground. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works, right? We all know this, even if you're not a parent. And we all have these interactions with people all day long. However, I do feel like there are some things we can do to set ourselves up for success. So I'm a mental health counselor, and I obviously feel very passionate about therapy, about, do you have a person that you can talk to just help you better understand what you're going through, or better understand some tips and tools and strategies to set yourself up for success? So obviously, I think parenthood should come with their own therapist, because it is just, it's a wild ride.
At the hospital, the baby shows up, the therapist is there too.
Here's your counselor, you know, because so much will come up through that journey. However, I always encourage moms or parents in general, when they're interacting with their kids and they feel like it's going haywire, or maybe afterwards they're feeling guilty, to just like to access their breath, because it's always with us, it's always with you, even just like a deep breath. And then sometimes to pair that with a phrase, or maybe if you have like a faith tradition, a prayer. What can you do to just kind of ground yourself? Thinking of a mantra or thinking of something to just sort of say, you know, I'm doing the best that I can, or this too shall pass, the classic one, or just something to help you realize that you really are doing the best that you can. Maybe there are some things that you can do outside of this situation to help set yourself up for success, like going to therapy or reading some parenting books or whatever, but in the moment you really are doing the best that you can.
Do you believe in the whole, like, if I need to take care of myself before I can take care of my kid? You know?
Absolutely. And I think that the hard part about that, we all believe that in theory.
Right. You
but
put
how
the
does
ear
that
muffs on
actually
yourself,
play
you're never
out?
going to do that, right?
You know, I don't know. It is figuring out who your support team, support system is. And, you know, if that's your partner, if that's a therapist, if that's making sure you're going to yoga every week, if that, whatever, you're going for a run. Doing something that reminds you who you are, who you were before you had kids, the things that make you kind of feel alive. If you can just think, how can I sprinkle that in this season of life? Because, so I have really young kids. I don't know what it feels like to parent teenagers. I don't know what it feels like to parent middle schoolers.
And that's a different stage.
Yes. So for me, in the storm that is, you know, 3 littles under 5, I don't have a lot of time to just you know, sit back and reflect and read books and all of that. But I can, if I really think about it, be proactive to find little pockets of my day to rejuvenate myself. Because if I'm standing on a stronger foundation, those interactions probably aren't going to feel as tumultuous, and then I'm probably not going to feel guilty afterwards.
Very good. Great advice this morning.
Oh, yes.
Appreciate it. I'm going to take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath. We all
Control that breathing.
I do like the mantra though, because there are times where I will walk away and come back and I do feel better. And I'm like, you know, I just needed that beat. I needed that second. But I like the idea though of having that mantra in your mind to just be like, yeah, this will pass. We'll be on to something else soon enough. This is my little one here. Not little anymore. 5.5. They grow up fast, don't they? Yeah,
they do.
Before you know it.
Thanks so
We'll
much
be dealing
for
with
joining
teenagers.
us. She'll be going to prom.
Yes, that's what he said yesterday.
Oh my God.